everyone, and welcome to an Americans for Limited Government live stream. As you can see, joining me from the road in his car is Mark Lloyd. He is a national field director for Virginians for America First. He's been out on the front lines in Virginia. A lot of credit goes to him and his volunteers. They knocked on more than 60,000 doors. Of course, what we're talking about today is the big win in Virginia, Lady Liberty's big win. Welcome, Mark, and congratulations to you.
Well, thanks, Catherine, but let me set the record straight. I'm actually the National Field Director for Americans for Limited Government.
Oh,
and,
well, okay.
And Virginians for America First is a project of Americans for Limited Government.
I ought to know that. Well, all I know, Mark, is that you have been working your behind off for the last 9 months, crisscrossing this state. You had strategically targeted a number of House of Delegates seats. For people outside of the Commonwealth of Virginia, House of Delegates is simply what our state calls our House of Representatives. So tell us about what that looked like. You had targeted these seats and you came out successful because you did flip the control back to the Republicans in the state of Virginia.
Well, you have to understand that the Virginia House of Delegates is the oldest deliberative body in the Northern Hemisphere. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
In the Western Hemisphere. What am I saying? We are the oldest ones around. So, but yeah, in 2017 and 2019, things got pretty ugly here in the Commonwealth, and the Democrats and their radical leftists, they took over. And going into this thing, they had a 5-seat majority. So we sat down in February. We kind of calculated where we thought we could win. We actually were active in 22 House districts to begin with, and we started to kind of whittle those down. It was a constant evaluation, and we really got down to where we thought we had 8 to 10 seats that we were going to be able to pick up, that we were hopeful there. But what wound up happening is we wound up with 7, but 6 of those 7 were our original targets. So it was a lot of hard volunteer work. Virginians for America First, we came online in early March, and we were able to put over 1,000 volunteers and to working. We trained over 500 volunteers to do poll working, as well, to go out and canvass and knock doors to educate voters on America First principles, and feeling pretty good. All of our folks, we have congratulated them for their hard work. From now underway that we're going to continue on is to canvass. Yes, looking for election fraud. We started a canvass on that several weeks ago, and I won't get off into the weeds with it, but we found about 5.7% of all the absentee ballots that are coming in, based on our sample size and our surveys, are questionable, potential fraud. And we're now going to build up evidence. And then we're going to deliver to the legislature our suggestions and the evidence that we have found, and they need to get this stuff fixed. It's their job.
Well, you did great work, and congratulations on all your success. And I want to show a clip here that we can all watch together. This is from Fox and Friends this morning. It's 2 women one is from Loudoun County, Virginia. The other one is from Fairfax County. Those 2 counties have been getting a lot of national attention for parent uprisings at these woke school board meetings. And a lot of those parents got involved politically and voted and supported Youngkin. So let me show you this clip, Mark, because I want to hear what you think was going on at the grassroots level as you were out with volunteers knocking on doors. So stand by.
Yesterday, it sort of felt something like, for every mother out there, like you're about to, just have the best day of your life, but you're afraid it could become your worst day. And right now, there are so many parents in Virginia and across the country that are just waking up with a big smile on their face like we are, because this was a referendum on parents, and this entire ridiculous woke ideology that has swept into our school systems. What she is expressing is exactly what parents are feeling so much, because we have felt so ignored, as you said, Ainsley, since months and months ago when we would first go before our school boards. I brought just one of the signs that, has become a sort of symbol, Parents for Youngkin. Until last night, I didn't want to tell anybody how I had voted, but I am a immigrant, Muslim, liberal Democrat, and I voted for Glenn Youngkin because Glenn Youngkin actually did something that so many politicians and policymakers have done, and that is honored parents. And right now, I know I'm getting messages from Oregon to Maine where parents are just so happy about this because they feel like they've finally been heard. And I want to just tell all of them mama bears and papa bears out there that you can do this in your school district. You can do this in your state. You can take it back. Because yesterday, it sort of felt something like, for every mother.
All right, Mark. So you hear this mother speaking so impassioned about the need to reclaim our schools. As you were out knocking on doors and meeting with voters, were you hearing a lot of that? And just tell me kind of what you were hearing out there.
That mother is echoing what we heard constantly. We went out knocking on our volunteers that went out canvassing, on that. One of the questions that we asked on the canvas in our districts was, one of the first questions was, what are your top 3 issues? And I'm going to tell you that early on, it was CRT, the critical race theory. It incensed everybody. And we were not knocking on doors of hardcore Republicans. We actually reached out to what we call low propensity voters. These are the folks that are not necessarily politically engaged. They don't follow politics like some of us, political junkies do. And they'll vote up, they'll show up to vote for presidential elections. But what we were finding is that these people were fully engaged. And I really do think it comes down to when you have somebody telling you that you don't have the right to be involved in teaching your children. Literally, you don't have the right to teach your children. There's an anger that swells up in these people. I mean, they are literally molesting your children by trying to take them away from you and to put something in their head that is just absolutely evil. One of the funny things, well, it wasn't funny, one of the things that I saw with dealing with African American parents, it was this one quote, and they hated CRT as much as anybody, and their comment was, look, yeah, we know that there's problems. They had grown up, they had seen racism. They said, but we have spent our lives trying to teach our children that they are as good as everybody else, that if they worked hard, got a good education, they could be successful, and that they are not victims. That was beautiful. So, and I really don't think that the left understands that when they pigeonhole everybody into some skin color category. Parents are parents. They love their children, and they want their children to succeed and grow up and do better than they do. And these parents said, you can't teach our children that they are victims. They're not victims. And the first clip you showed there, this lady was an immigrant. These immigrants that we ran into, I ran across one woman that she had grown up in what used to be Czechoslovakia. She had escaped. I mean, she came over here when she was young, but she remembered communism and the things that her parents said. And she was terrified that she's hearing it's happening here. It's happening to us now. And I don't believe she had started out being a Republican, but and I don't know how she voted, but I know with what she had expressed to us at the door, I have a feeling she showed up and voted for Youngkin. That would be my guess. We saw that. That was evident out there all the time.
Well, Mark, one of the things we were doing here at Americans for Limited Government today was just trying to dig through the poll numbers and how many people voted and, you know, that kind of thing. And one of the things that really jumped out at us here was what appears to have happened in short, in looking through all the numbers, is that Democrats stayed home this election compared to a year ago. Republicans really got out. So let me look at this one number. Now, compared to a year ago for the presidential election, 84% of those people who voted for Trump came out and voted for Youngkin today or yesterday. Now, on the Democrat side, you have only 66% of the people who a year ago voted for Biden voted for McAuliffe. So it does appear that the real shift there is Republicans were highly enthused, really wanted to be involved. Oh. Democrats stayed away. I mean, do you have any other analysis there?
Well, yeah, here's my analysis. Democrats had nothing to be excited about. Look, they're worried about their kids being indoctrinated and raped just as much as Republicans are. And let's face it, if you're a Democrat, you had nothing to be really excited about. And I didn't see any enthusiasm amongst the Democrats. But you know what? And I live outside of out of deep blue Northern Virginia. And I can tell you that Republicans, conservatives, liberty-loving people, they would crawl through broken glass to go vote. That they were the intensity there was no comparison at all. I live in Campbell County, a very red county, and I voted on the first day of early voting, but I drove around to see some of the precincts, what it was looking like, and it was reminiscent of Trump 2016. It was 47 degrees and it was raining. There were lines of cars into the parking lots, and then there were people standing in the rain at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to go vote. That's amazing. But if you really start to dig into the county numbers around the state, we saw that all over the county, that the strong conservative red counties, they were deep red this time. I mean, they came out in presidential numbers.
Yeah, they really did. So as you noted, you are fortunate to live in the conservative part of Virginia. I am here in the deep blue Fairfax County, and I was disappointed that Fairfax County, Loudoun County, and Prince William, those are the sort of, and then there's Arlington County. Arlington County, I don't even consider them like even we could possibly get a few votes. They are so blue in Arlington. I kind of put them in with the District of Columbia. They're not even viable, I don't think, for Republicans. But these other three counties, Prince William, Loudoun, and Fairfax. I've been here in Virginia for about 13 years. And over the 13 years I've been here, I have seen them shift, because there was a time not that long ago when these three counties voted red, or they were could have gone either way. The margins were always close. Yep. But the last two elections, I mean, it's a blowout. Conservatives, even in this election where Youngkin won, he did not win in these Northern Virginia counties. So it was really the rest of the state that gave Youngkin the victory. Go ahead.
No, it was rural Virginia. It really was. Look, I've been in Virginia politics for a long time. Those counties that you mentioned, Arlington, Fairfax, Loudoun, they do to Virginia what Chicago does to Illinois. They really do. And, I joke and I say, well, the swamp creatures all work in D.C., but they cross the Potomac to come sleep. And that's what happens. So when you're dealing with all those, you're dealing with government workers. They're invested in large government, beltway bandits. It just is. It's the swamp, and those three counties are part of the swamp. I'm sorry, I've got friends up there. They're gonna shake their heads at me, but most of them also agree. But that is where we are. And what happened is that the rest of the state they're fed up with it. They're literally fed up with having their liberties taken away from them. They're, between mask mandates and, all that other stuff. And then obviously, of course, they'll call everybody lives outside of their Northern Virginia is racist. No, they're not. But when you've got children being taught to hate themselves because they're white, and having every other child with a different skin color hate the white kids too, that doesn't work. That was their mistake. And in my opinion, the Democrats live in such a tight bubble that the only people they talk to are each other. So it's an echo chamber. And they don't listen to what the rest of us have to say. The media enforces that, and that's where we are. And there is a backlash. I heard a comment today on one of the radio stations I was listening to as I was driving, and they called this a woke lash. Wasn't a backlash, this was a woke lash. So, and I think that's really accurate.
Yeah. So what do you think this bodes for the midterm elections? We're just 1 year out. Good things, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a fear. The Democrats have two choices. They can either wake up, sit down, be honest with themselves, and figure out what happened, and make good adjustments and come closer to how Americans really feel. They have that choice. They're not known for making that choice. Or they can put the pedal to the metal and try to drive this big government tyrannical agenda down our throats before the 2022. I do believe that those of them that are at least somewhat honest with themselves, I think yesterday was a harbinger of things to come for them. If we can fight back and take back Virginia, we can do anything. And it's coming.
Well, I want to thank you, Mark, for all that you did at the grassroots level to help us gain control of the House of Delegates in Virginia and also elect a Republican governor. We haven't had a Republican governor since 2013 when Bob McDonald was in the governor's office. So thank you. And thanks to all the volunteers and those of you who have supported us, sending us donations. It really does make a difference. And you are making a winning difference.
Can I say? Well, thank you. I want to say one more thing that to anybody that's listening, this is the first step. This is far from this. This is just the beginning. It has taken years and years to get in the terrible situation that we find ourselves today. It's not going to be fixed in one election cycle. Although we had some wins, we got a lot more work to do. In Virginia, I mean, next year we've got congressional races. And in 2023, the state Senate is up. We never get a break in Virginia. And in 2024, hopefully we can boot these tyrants out altogether in D.C. So this is a long-term project. It's going to take all of us doing it, and but it can be done. We proved that yesterday.
Well, on that, I'll close it out. And thank you, Mark. And thanks all of you for being a part of our fight for freedom. And we'll see you next time on an Americans for Limited Government live stream.